is Diane from Teach Pre-K, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about one of my focuses for the coming year. I'm just going to do a big focus on fine motor skills. I did a little professional development this summer, and I got some really great ideas, and I started thinking about developing fine motor skills in a different way. I've always wanted to make them a little more play based and a little bit more fun. And I know there are some kids that really struggle. So they need lots and lots of different things because they're going to like some things and they're not going to like some things. So I want to give them a million opportunities, but there's only a few that I can actually do. But so I'm going to share with you some pretty conventional fine motor skill work and some things you might not have thought of as actually fine motor skill stuff, and some things that you can kind of add into what you're already doing to create some passive fine motor skill work. Okay. We all know, well, maybe we don't know, but as little humans, our hands when we're first born are kind of just all connected. They're kind of, our fingers might be separate, but they just work in conjunction with each other, and we can grab things. Around 9 to 12 months, they start to separate into the two parts of the hand, where we've got our stabilizing fingers here and our working fingers here, our little tripod, these three fingers that make the pincer grasp. So this was such a cool thing. I don't know how well this will work with kids, so I'm actually really excited to see if it can work, if they are going to be able to do that. And you'll also find something out about me. I do not have good stabilizers. Something's up with my hand. I've always had horrible handwriting. I have really good fine motor skills, but I have horrible handwriting, and I think my stabilizers don't work as well as they should. But one thing she suggested saying to the kids are, your thumb and these two fingers are your working fingers. They do all the work and all the playing. These two, they're tired. They need to take a rest. So let's get them a pillow. Here's a little pom-pom or cotton ball. And let's let them take a nap. So then we have our three working fingers. So then look how easy this is. Give them the dropper. They've got their working fingers while these little guys are sleeping. And if you notice on me, it's really hard for me to keep that pinky down as I'm working those fingers. And that is my new explanation for my horrible handwriting. I always wanted cute handwriting, tried my whole life and never got it. So she suggested trying some things with your resting fingers, resting or sleeping, taking a little nap, telling them good night, putting their little heads on the pillow, and then using our working fingers, our playing fingers, because they're going to play. They're going to do fun things. One of my favorite things that she suggested that I thought, oh my gosh, this is so out of the box and so much fun. You can use these little squirty fish because you've really got to squeeze those three fingers to make them blow air. You can make them blow water too, but you know what you could do? You could make colored circles on a piece of paper, a big piece of butcher paper, tape it to your table, and then they have to blow pom-poms of that color. Like the pink would have to blow into the pink circle. Green would have to blow into the green circle. Now these guys are tough. I don't think my 3-year-olds would be able to do this, but I think my 4-year-olds could. And I bought something else too. I bought these little guys because I was thinking, those fish were quite something. Let me see about these little guys. Well, these little guys do the same thing. These little dinosaurs. So we've got these that we can work with too. And there's lots of little, if you look up like squeezy squirty bath toys, things like that on Amazon, you're going to find a bunch of things that you can do. And you can find So many things, blowing pieces of paper, blowing pom-poms. You can do it to squirt water. You could do a car wash or a dog wash and use those as the little rinsers, like they're going to Mr. Fish's car wash, or they're going to Mr. Fish's, pet shampoo laboratory and make some, toy animals dirty and then squirt them clean with your little fish. Another thing that I thought was really cool, that was interesting, and you guys, you can keep those resting fingers resting for everything, so they really have to concentrate, was getting wind up toys. So you can use this with your fingers resting and using your playful fingers, and you can wind up the wind up toy because you are using fine motor, your tripod, your pincer grasp to make the wind up toys work. So I got a bunch of these little wind up toys. They were super cheap. They came in big bags of like birthday party favors in all these zoo animals. And I will put these out. If you guys have seen any of my other videos, if you haven't, watch the ones on that I do on mini centers. But I'll put these out, or I'll put them on my rug for, beginning of the day activity or early finishers or something like that. And let the kids have little races, take them out in the hall, maybe make a little obstacle course for them, whatever you want to do. But if anyone comes in and they say, "What are you doing letting your kids just play with wind-up toys?" You're not. You're working on their pincer grasp. You are honing fine motor skills. Do the kids know that? No. They think they are playing with wind-up toys. Same with the little fish blowing. It's like, what are you doing having them just blow pom-poms everywhere? They could blow them off a table. They could blow them into a bowl. They could see who could get it the furthest across the room, whatever you can think of. But you can say, I'm working my standards here. One of my standards is developing fine motor coordination, hand-eye coordination, getting these kids ready for writing, for cutting, which is, those things are going to be part of your fine motor development. But you're not just goofing around. You are working your standard. Another thing that I have done, and I think I got this idea from Vanessa Levin at Pre-K Pages, was I use these little nail art tools. They're really cool. They just have like these little pokey ends with circles, like little balls on them, so kids can't hurt themselves. I used to do this activity with like sharpened pencils, but one of the activities I love to do, and this one's going to be in a new Welcome to School pack that I'm doing, but it's getting one of these little things, or you can just use a sharpened pencil or a push pin. But, kids can sometimes hurt themselves or hurt other people with those. These are relatively safe as long as they, you tell them you don't poke your eye. But if you put the paper on the rug and then you just poke the dots and make the first letter of their name, you can hold this up to a lamp, or you can put it on the light table. Every time I do this like for our letter of the week, which, I do a holistic approach to the letter of the week. So they'll just do like one or two activities. This is always one of the favorite activities that they do when we're focusing on a particular letter. But using this little thing to poke the holes, and they concentrate so hard. It's so cool to watch them, you guys, because they really want to get those holes and make the letter. And it takes a lot of skill. And again, they're using their playing fingers. Either they're playing fingers or they're working fingers. You can call them whatever you like. Of course, there is, I always like to use jars or cups. And I've got lots of different kinds of tongs. I have gator grabbers that are a little bit easier to use than these. I've seen these in just about every single preschool classroom, and I think they're kind of hard to use. I just don't have my gator grabbers here. But guys, in order to make it easier, you really have to tell your kids that they've got to use their fingers on that groove. Otherwise, it's super hard. There's actually a groove for your two fingers on one side and your thumb on the other. And if they hold it like this, they're going to have a much easier time. So take the time. Don't just say, let's use these tweezers like this. Take the time to show them how to use them. Either left hand or right hand, it'll work for either one, but then they can take colored pom-poms and put them in jars. This jar could have like a 1 or a 2, and they'll need to put 3 pom-poms into that jar. But they really like it because, the smaller the pom-poms get, the harder they're going to have to grasp. But look, I'm holding my little pillow for my resting fingers, and I drop my pom-pom the whole time. So it's really working, just those 3. And you guys, I can feel it in this tendon going all the way down to my elbow. Is that so cool? And of course, the kids will too, and they're going to build a lot of functional strength for more and more fine motor work. So those are a couple of things. But I can't always fit fine motor work into what I want to do. So I thought I need to have some more passive ways to get fine motor work into my day. Well, okay, what if, and this I thought was genius, what if your kid comes to a center where, I don't know, you're going to make patterns with pom-poms or something, and you give them a baggie of pom-poms. I am so accustomed to using a little dish, something that's super easy for them to grab things out of. But what if I put them in one of these slider bags? Guess what? I'm going to let my resting fingers take their nap. I have to use these 3 fingers to get this bag open. I could put my glue stick, my scissors, anything I need for an art project in here. I could put my manipulatives for a math center or a literacy center in here. I could put their snacks in here. And if you're using them for just manipulatives and things like that, use them over and over again, you guys. You're not going to waste the bags. You're just going to use them again. And they are going to use these. They're going to think, I'm just getting my supplies out. But they are working on fine motor skills. So I thought that was just one of the most fantastic little passive ways to work for fine motor skill development. Of course, we all do like painting with droppers, squirting droppers, using droppers for lots of different things. So guys, get a bunch of these. I have droppers like this. I have super tiny medicine droppers, and I have just the pipettes that you can get like, 200 for $5.99 on Amazon. But kids love using these. So wherever you can think, like again, if you're doing a transportation unit, let's get the cars dirty and do a car wash, and you can use these to squirt the brown paint or dirt or whatever off of the cars. Start, really thinking, how else can I use this? How else can I use my wind-up toys? How else can I use all my stuff? Because there's 1,000,001 uses. Get out your standards. You're going to find a standard that's going to fit with your genius ideas, right? Another thing that is going to be in my little welcome to school packet that hopefully I'll get out in the next couple of weeks because we're getting close. I made little templates that you can copy on white paper, colored paper. This is just printer paper, and that's what I think I would start with at the beginning of the year. And of course, I would go through how to use scissors, but guess what, guys? I'm still going to put these guys to bed, nighty-night, and I'm going to put my two fingers in the big side, my thumb in the little side. I'm going to keep my thumb up on top, and then I am going to follow these lines across. And guess what? I don't want a big mess, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get one of those big jars from Snack Time, the animal crackers, and I'm going to put a label on it that says cutting jar. And when we're done cutting, each piece goes into the cutting jar. When the cutting jar starts to get a little bit full, we go, guess what? We're going to use all our scraps from the cutting jar, and you have this super fun, open-ended art center and less mess on the floor. So that I think is wonderful. I've got some curved lines. I've got zigzag lines. I've got some, slanted and straight. I think I have 4 or 5 different lines you can use, and there's 3 strips to each page. I like printing them on the colored printer paper because kids just want more color. And that way, when you take your cutting jar out, you're going to have all these beautiful scraps with all these different colors, and the kids are going to have an opportunity to use a glue stick, which, have you guys ever noticed glue sticks are kind of stubby? Perfect for using just these 3 fingers. Which brings me to, well, hello, Mrs. Lee. Guess what? My kids hold their markers like this. Of course they do. That is how they started. It's that grabbing, we all like, you can touch a baby's palm and they'll grab onto you, right? So that's how we all started. But you can use your pillow, make those guys go night night, and then they have no choice but to use these three. And might they do some crazy things? Sure. But guess what, guys? This is a really big marker and it's easier to just grab like that. I didn't know this. You guys might know this, and I think you're amazing if you do, because I didn't know this. Look at what Crayola makes. Oh yeah, I think they're called pipsqueaks or something like that. Look at how cute. It is hard to grab this like this and to use it like this because you don't have much room. I have a big grown-up hand, but even little kids' hands are going to take up all the space. So this almost forces them to use that pincer grasp. But you can always say, night, 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 sleepy fingers, let's go. And have them write with the stubby markers. So I'm going to leave a little collection of stubby markers, especially for my 3-year-olds at my writing center. Because that way, when they choose, because that's a center that's open during free choice time, they can choose to go use these and work more on this. I might even put the cutting jar out there some days and put the scissors and our cutting jar strips out there for them to work on that. So another thing, these little golf pencils, and what I love about these is they have an eraser. Do kids really use the eraser? No, but some have older brothers and sisters and they know that if you make a mistake with a pencil, you can use this end and make the mistake go away. So I still have my little pillow. If you use the smaller pencils, it's going to be the same way it is with these little markers. It's going to be harder to do that palmer's grasp. It's just not going to feel as comfortable as when using a full-size pencil. So if they say night night, sleepy fingers, let's get our playing fingers out to play and write things. If you have these out at your writing center, it's just going to be another almost passive way that they're going to start using these 3 fingers, which is what you want them to do. So, like I said, we're not always going to be there to watch everything they're doing and give them all this instruction on every little part of their day. Some things are going to have to be a little bit more passive, but you guys, there are options. That's the cool thing. Another thing that I just loved that I learned at this professional development was I am a fan of my full-sized, sharpened, beautiful, brand new crayons. But what's really, really, really good for the kids are all those broken pieces for the same reason I just showed you with the stubby marker and the stubby pencils, because it makes them work harder. Well, guys, she mentioned these crayon rocks. Guys, crayon rocks, type it into Amazon and you get a bag full of colors that have they're shaped like little rocks, but they're crayons, and it kind of forces the kids. You can't grab these in color. You can't. You guys, look at that. You have to use your working or playing fingers and have your stabilizers there so you can control. So I am so excited about these. Yeah, I bought 4 bags of them, and I think 36 comes in each, but they have, some really interesting colors. They have your normal colors, but really beautiful periwinkle and that pretty dusty rose. They have colors that you can use for multicultural, people and things like that. But they all have a little groove for your thumb so that you can color using these. I am crazy about these. They're super chunky. I think they're going to be really hard. You know how you have some kids that just want to break crayons? These are going to be really hard to break too. And they come in this little bag, but I think I would probably just put them out in a container. Another thing that I really like and my kids really like are using the hole punch. Now, we've all seen those old metal hole punches. Hold on, I think I have one. Yeah. these. And I love this because I can see exactly where I'm punching my hole, and I have strong hands. I'm an adult, so these are super easy for me to use. But if I had little teeny kid fingers, oh my gosh, I could never use this ever. This is crazy. This is hard. And then, yeah, it's got this little spring thing here that just like gives it the tension it needs, but it makes it really, really hard. So, guys, I found these. These come in a pack of 4. They come with purple, blue, pink, and green. These are by Boss Stitch, and they are fantastic. And yeah, you're not really using these. You can, because this isn't hard to use. You could go nighty night, stabilizing fingers. Let's go play with these guys, right? And use a clip. And also, they have this nice little thing where you can close them shut. All of your little confettis get contained right here. When my kids figured out how to open these last year, I was like, ah! But they had a fun time, so I guess I don't care. But this even helps the really little kids like really learn to just grasp and squeeze. And you guys, these are effortless for an adult. But you imagine if you have those little fingers, you're going to really have to work, and it's working that same tendon that goes all the way down to your elbow that you need for fine motor work. So I will put a link for these in my explanation, and I'll put a link for these little guys because you guys, I'm on, I think, my 3rd set of these. I love these. I've actually given them to parents whose kids are really struggling with fine motor, and there's pictures that you can get that are made of dots that, oh my gosh, they love. I have a whole bunch of fine motor units on Teachers Pay Teachers that have pictures relating to whatever theme the fine motor unit is that they can poke with these too. It doesn't always have to be first letter of your name or whatever. It can be something like that. And I had a little guy really struggling this year. He loved that activity so much. So I just pulled one out and gave it to his mom and made several copies of the pictures that I had and just said, you go to town. And if you want more of these, you know, you've got them. I can get them for you. I'll put gator grabbers in there too, because those are sometimes really hard to find. You can usually find them at Lakeshore. Another thing, if you've got pre-K kids, 3-year-olds, I don't use geoboards until the end of the year, but if you have pre-K kids, the geoboards with regular rubber bands, I have itty bitty rubber bands that I use towards the end of the year, like that are used to make those Lumi bracelets. But your pre-K kids can be really good if you teach them, you know, put one over a loop, put your thumb on it so it doesn't go flying everywhere, and then you use those fingers again. You could say nighty night, these 2 fingers. Let's let these guys play with the geoboard. And, you know, you can work the geoboards like that. That's kind of, it takes a lot of hand-eye coordination for the 3-year-olds. I wouldn't try geoboards with them until probably second half of the year, just after you've seen what they're able to do and you've done a lot of other fine motor activities with them, because it's just, you just don't want anything that you do to be an exercise in frustration. But I hope, I kind of went through this super quick. I hope this gave you maybe a couple ideas you hadn't thought of yet. And the coolest thing about like visiting other people's YouTube channels or their Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and seeing what they're doing is sometimes you can take one of their ideas, right? And it inspires you and you start coming up with more and more of your own. Like, well, oh my gosh, I can make this game with the squeezy fish, or, you know, we can have the wind up toys, you know, not only just have a race, but we could have them, you know, classify them or sort them or whatever, or start them all at the same time and see which one can go the furthest, or whatever you want to do to bring that extra little bit of play into your day. And remember, this is all about meeting your standards. It will be, usually it's in your, I think, health education or physical education standard, and there will be a substrand for fine motor. and there will be a couple standards in there, usually about using tools like scissors, hole punches, tweezers, pipettes, these little guys, writing, making scribbles, and things like that. Those are all going to be a substrand under fine motor. So I know that some of you work for, maybe a stricter administrator that really wants to make sure your program is super high quality and that you guys are following the standards. So I want you to remember that when you're doing these fun activities, it's not just fun. Like, you can take the tweezers, you can take one pom pom, run it across the room, and drop it in a jar to get gross motor and fine motor skills. And your administrator comes in and you're like, yeah, I'm just meeting my gross motor and fine motor standards. So remember that it's not just cute, it's not just fun, it's not just playing. Almost everything we do, if not everything we do, there is such a purpose behind it. So hopefully I'll come up with more super great fine motor stuff. I mean, I'm not showing you every single thing I have today because I think that would take hours and hours. But try the pillow thing and your playing fingers, your sleepy fingers, and your playing fingers, or your working fingers, whatever you want to call them. And, make it a challenge, like, ooh, we're going to see if we can keep, this little pillow under our sleepy fingers while we use our markers. And they'll think that's great. So anything you can make a challenge is always important. But like I said, I'm going to leave links to all of the little tools that you saw here. And hopefully that will give you a good head start. I am most excited about these and the wind-up toys. And those were so inexpensive, you guys. And also, if you do work for an administrator that is just standards, go to her and say, hey, watch this video. Look at all these great things that this teacher uses to reach her fine motor standards and to really develop that pincer grasp. Do you think we could get some of those things for our class? And guess what? 9 out of 10 times they're going to be like, yes, we need to do that. That sounds great. And I'm not going to give a thumbs up because I think another thumbs up will come. I found out in my last video that if you hold a peace sign, you get balloons. Yeah. So maybe I'll just do balloons every time. But thanks so much for watching. And if you have any comments or if you have any ideas that you think are amazing that you want to share with me or with the people that come to my channel, please, please, please do it. Press the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this content. And I'll see you next time, hopefully in just a couple days.